I'm Cynthia, and
I'm Mark.
we are here to talk about one of the most favorite oils in all of oildom, in all of essential oil history, and that is peppermint. So I hope you got the questionnaire and you got a chance to look at it and ask yourself, hey, what do I like about peppermint? If you didn't see that, we'll talk about it at the end. And why do I think peppermint's so wonderful? Do you have my paper that talks all about it?
Not right here, but I can go get it.
He's gonna go get my paper. So the reason why what I did was I thought, when I first started using peppermint, I don't know about all of you, but when I first started using it, this is how I was shown to me how to use it. So the first thing I learned was to take a drop, put it on my hand like this, and then just take a little dab like this and do that with it on the top roof of my mouth. Woo! Did that send me like into another space, just like it did right then. Want some?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so he's gonna do the same thing. Or Paul's gonna do that. That was the very first time I had tried it. And then I kind of cupped my hands over my face just to get the feel of that. And I noticed, the first thing I noticed was my eyes kind of opened up, like they probably did then, like really wide, like wow. But I noticed behind my eyes, I felt like something opened, and I noticed that I felt like I could breathe more deeply, which was awesome. And so I'm like, wow, this is really amazing. I didn't know that an oil could do that. And then I felt like my throat open. And then I started to feel like I could breathe more deeply. And all of a sudden, I had this experience with something that was one drop, which one drop is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. I would not want to drink that. I don't say to do that. But just the idea that the power of that little teeny bit of peppermint is right there in my hand. And the other wonderful thing that I learned about it is by adding a drop of wild orange and then putting them together like this for myself. Smell.
That opens the eyes, it opens the sinuses.
He got his sinuses open. But what for me happens, when I put it on the back of my neck, is it's energizing. It's so energizing. And that was my first experience with peppermint oil, was creating homeostasis for myself, creating better circulation, reducing some of the inflammation in my face, and just being able to breathe and feeling invigorated. That's a lot of things to happen in a matter of seconds. And that's how powerful essential oils are. And that's how powerful peppermint is. So I started thinking about all the ways that I use peppermint, not the ways that I've read everybody else is using it. And there are so many wonderful things you can do with peppermint oil. But I started wondering, what is it that I know that I've used it for? And I don't have them in front of me right now because I thought they were here. The peppermint beadlets were sitting right there. Did they miss them? So I have this little thing of peppermint beadlets, and it's not right here. So we'll pretend like this is it, but it's about this big. And I take it with me on trips because I can't take absolutely all of my oils with me, even though I do take little ones of things, but I want to have that with me while I'm on the airplane. Now, the reason why I want it for that is because when you land, sometimes if you've been in a lot of turbulence, if the airplane's been going up and down a lot, or even when you're landing, the change in the air pressure can be a real problem. And for me, I'll get kind of queasy. And that can be because of, the ear pressure not functioning correctly, just so many reasons why that happens. But so if I have those beadlets with me, I'll take a couple beadlets at the beginning, and then I'll take a couple of beadlets at the end, right before we land. And then I don't deal with any of that queasiness. And I'm also really alert and I feel really good. So that's something that I learned right off the bat about what I could do for this. So do we have some slides?
We do have some slides. It was really fun as I was putting these slides together to read all of Cynthia's ways of using the oils. It was pretty remarkable.
Were you kind of surprised?
Yeah, it was.
Were you like, hey, I did
wow,
that?
there's a lot of different ways to use it.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing to me. So here we go. And you might, yeah, I bet you've used every single one of these. This was for just getting that homeostasis, okay, from the very beginning. That's my very first. Getting that just like wonderful feeling of just groundedness and kind of wholeness. And then it's safe. It's safe to use externally and internally as long as you use doTERRA. Now, I'm not going to talk about any other products out there that have claims on them that say they're safe, but I know that these are tested in multiple ways so that you can always use them. And that's super important because I know I can put it on my skin. I know I can take it internally, and nothing's going to be a problem to my body when I do that. And you can put it underneath your nose, or you can put it on your tummy. You can stick it on your muscles when you're exercising. You can put it under your feet so that they calm down from inflammation. And you can just rub it across your tummy so that it has less problems digestively, because it actually helps reduce the inflammation and calms down the stomach and helps with digestive processes. Okay, you can stick it on a cloth by your throat and your lungs. So you open those up. We already talked about that a little bit. Foods and drinks. You can use them in your foods and drinks, right? You can put it in a cup of hot cocoa, or you can stick it in on popcorn. Just pop some popcorn and stick a little bit of that with some chocolate with it. That'd be super, super good. You can stick it in a diffuser. You can use it on chocolate in chocolate and desserts. And then that should say digestive, not digest. Digest issues. So we talked about how it's calming. All right. It also helps to relieve gas because it helps the system move things through. And so it aids in the circulation of fluids. So it helps your body get better health by oxygenation. And one of the things everybody knows is it helps stop bad breath.
So I just note on that, I use it quite a bit for that. And especially like when I'm going out to visit clients and that kind of thing. And so I always take the beadlets with me. The other day I went to see a client and I thought, oh, I don't have my beadlets. And I thought, oh, well, I've got a mask and they're not going to get more than 6 feet away from me. So I'm probably good for today. But when COVID's over, I'll definitely go back to making sure I always have them with me.
Did you smell it yourself though? You're like, oh no, I can smell that. So now we have breathing and lungs. Okay. So once again, helps open the lungs. First thing I learned about it. I use it on airplanes, breathing and lungs. And you opened your sinuses and your throat. And I can't read that one because that's annoying.
Increases circulation.
And increase the circulation once again. And then it calms the allergic responses that you might have. So if you're outside and you're dealing with a lot and you're running by fields of things, that freshly mowed things or whatever, when I go outside, sometimes the pollen will kind of start me to have some kind of a response that I don't want. So that you can help reduce that. Also, peppermint's awesome for muscles. It's even in this, and everybody loves this. Anybody who's ever used this is just like, please, I want more, because it helps to allow your body to stretch. It reduces that wonderful inflammation again. And so you're getting a lot better circulation, and your body is able to stretch out when you do your yoga exercises too. And it relieves pain. So after you've had your exercising and you're lying in bed at night thinking, oh, I cannot move and I'm not going to be able to get out of bed the next morning, put some on your shoulders. Now, it invigorates, so it might keep you up for a little bit, but then you'll also fall asleep. There we go. That increased circulation. This is so important because the toxins are moving out of the body all the time you're using this peppermint, and you're also helping nutritional influence move through. And then we got that homeostasis going on. It's awesome, 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 awesome. So now we're gonna, the other one that has, and we talked about peppermint a lot, but it's also in Digestion. Digestion was the first oil that I used consistently on my body. I was a little bit scared or concerned to do this. And so I'm like, okay, I'll use just like a drop. And then it felt really good immediately. I noticed that I didn't have so much bloating on my body. And then I put a couple of drops on. And then I started using about 3 drops every couple of hours. So I started slowly to see how I would respond to it. And after 8 days, no, after a week, I had actually lost 8 pounds. Crazy. I know this sounds crazy, but of excess fluid. I did nothing else but just put digestion on my stomach. That's how bloated my body was, and that's how much I needed some extra help. So think of oils as being really strong partners in your ability to have some extra help and enjoy the experiences that you might have. That was 15 ways. If you can believe that, you just learned 15 ways to use peppermint. Just like that. And why I always have peppermint with me in some form or another, right? And usually multiple forms. I usually have multiple forms of it with me because it helps in so many ways. And you can easily share it with other people. They respond to it, they enjoy it, and they feel good. They like being around you and just kind of smelling in the wonder of peppermint. some things they don't say this, but I had a friend the other day. She's like, well, you don't smell like essential oil person. You don't smell like it. And I thought, well, obviously I don't do something that is over the top. Yeah. So I'll use peppermint. People don't even think about peppermint being over the top. We're so used to it with all the things that you can buy over the counter things and all the stuff. And I use peppermint all the time. And so it's not really thought of as being out there, right? And then people can get used to it and it helps them get better and they don't even know it. They feel better and they don't even know. You're influencing them just by being there. And we love that. So Mark, what are some of the things that you've done?
Well, I talked about using it for breath. I like that. I also use it for when I exercise. Like before I do yoga, I'll smell it or I'll put it on. When I go biking in the summer, I like to put it on my neck. It actually kind of helps me cool down and gives me that little extra boost of energy for mountain biking. So I love it for that. And I just love it for flavor. Sometimes I'll put it in a smoothie or in a drink or something like that, maybe with chocolate. And it just gives it that little zing that I really
you really like peppermint. I've seen you put in a lot of things.
Yeah, I do. I really like peppermint.
So we're going to open this up and see what you like to use it for. We've got, and you can open up take off your mute if you want to tell us what you like to use it for. You can even write it in the chat if you want to.
I think Gil's got something for us.
Obviously, I use it for breath. Probably the main thing.
For the ladies, huh?
But I really like when I'm kind of stuffed up to open up my breathing. I really like it for that.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I do too. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. Thanks. Irina, do you have something you like it for?
I like peppermint in this very good mix. In Breeze in United States, in Canada, Easy Air. It's my favorite mix. Every time keep in my table because I need to find quickly some time for my breathing, for my lung, because is not correct sometimes. And especially I very like peppermint like coca, and for my energy when I work, I many times sometimes use together peppermint and wild orange if I need energy, if I tired, or some my coworkers told me, Irina, I am so tired. Okay, I have a help for you. Quickly help.
That's going to
Yeah,
help.
like that. Yeah. Peppermint is deep blue is a favorite rub in our family for all problem, for all needs, like for tooth, for teeth,
Oh,
like that.
That's
Yeah.
It
that's
works very good,
Yeah.
especially if you have a pain. And sometimes it's like Sunday, Saturday, sometimes it's very difficult to be with doctor. Peppermint, some self or deep blue, it's okay.
just help.
It's
Oh, that's a great idea.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, both of you. I got to tell a funny story about Breathe. So I hadn't used Breathe before very much, just a little bit. And I have dust allergies, meaning I react to dust. I don't like go into anaphylactic shock, but I do react to it. So I'm sensitive to it. And I went to a kind of a doTERRA retreat. And so all these people had all their doTERRA favorites with them, of course. And I went into the restroom just to try to breathe a little bit because they had some windows open and all this dust was blowing in where we were sleeping. I'm like, I'm having a hard time. And they're like, hey, try this, breathe. And I said, well, what do I do with it? I'll just put a little bit underneath your eyes or underneath your nose, and it'll just open up your the sinuses here, and you'll be able to breathe. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. And so I stick some under my nose right here and take a few breaths. And then I stick some here and I take a few breaths. And I'm like, that felt so good. And I'm still in the restrooms. And I look up my face and I had a mustache and two big circles under my eyes of red from using Breathe. So just remember, the peppermint is strong and sometimes affects your skin.